Ladies and gentlemen, it is with renewed pleasure that we bring to you today's edition of Press Hour. Your interest is the source of our inspiration and energy to debate on topics that builds and gives shape to an all-englobing and inclusive nation. On Press Hour today, we are questioning whether women in Cameroon have this far not simply made their demands for gender balance a talk show without a proportionate action. And we are talking at a time we're preparing to have the senatorial election come March 12th. We want to know how many women we have in the Senate, how many women we have in Parliament in general, in National Assembly, and how many women are represented in decision-making positions in Cameroon. That's going to be our focus on Press Hour today. And to talk about this topic, that it's topical and sensitive, it's a panel that you would like to see again. We have Yvonne Muma B, who is a household name on Press Hour. She is an activist in More Women in Politics. She is one of the founding members of that association in Cameroon, and we thought that she should come and tell us how far they've come with this. Are they continuing, they just continue to talk, or they are doing something that we can lay our fingers on? Yvonne, we are honored again by your presence on the set.
The pleasure is mine, Kilian, and let me seize this opportunity to wish our televiewers a happy new year, a very prosperous one, and my co-panelists, promising them that 2023 is a year for women. We are going to take the driver's seat, the pilot seat. From now henceforth, the world will become women.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. I hope that you are not going to push men out of the
It's
wagon.
going to be a partnership, but with women holding the steering, because the men have done it for too long. We all know the results, so women are taking the baton of command.
Well, that is still to happen. We look forward to seeing you make that happen. Yvonne, thank you very much for coming. Patience Elango, African Programs and Community Relations Expert, or called like specialist, ID for Africa. Many people always ask me where you are, that you always spit fire when you are talking about any topic you call upon to talk, especially when it comes to matters relating to women. Patience, you're welcome to Press Hour.
It's a pleasure to be here, and this is 2023. We say thank God we're alive, we're here, and we have a kind thought for all the women who've left us, who went to rest, and those who left our parliamentary seats. We hope that they would intervene too from the other side and push our women forward some more. Thank you.
As they do that spiritually, you are here physically. We count so much on you, Patience. And I turn to the left of the set to welcome Barrister Joy Chefu, who is women's rights advocate. You're welcome, Barrister.
Thank you very much for having me. And I'm looking at the women and hoping that our senatorial elections will be better for us all, and that we're going to have more seats and greater impact.
And they are looking up to you to make sure that from a legal perspective you make that happen for them.
Sure.
Okay, and we have the only cock, the only man on this set is Dr. Chuo Walters, who is a political analyst. We are glad to have you on our set, Doctor.
Thank you very much. I wish to say Happy New Year to everyone, especially those who are in the Northwest and the Southwest. I encourage women to join politics and be in better positions and influence the government of Cameroon or any country, because some women, when after they have joined politics, when they have achieved their goals, they go away and they abandon the association or the movement of the political party. So that is my worry about women joining politics. They need to be serious. They need to influence the decision leaders to be also people who can lead a country and change things, rather than making complaints. They need to challenge men in making decisions during leadership when it comes to executive, legislative, or maybe the local governance.
Thank you very much. The challenge is there already. Yvonne, patience, and joy. You hear that one man is worth 3 women. We're going to go into the debate only after this first lot that is a pace setter for Press R, and it's a review of the press in Press Review done for us by Emanuela Vemnui.
The press week in Cameroon was dominated by the convening of the Electoral College by the President of the Republic. Biya convened senatorial elections for March 12, writes the Guardian Post. And the ball is set rolling in Cameroon Insider. Then Cameroon Tribune invites candidates to get set. In no time, senatorial elections fever grips the nation in municipal updates, paving the way for political gimmicks and maneuvers in the Voice as underground investiture battles begin in the Post. CPDM militants then endorsed Senator Ote Mofa Andrew for Parliament in the Horizon, but Honorable Ninche is in a tight corner as Mochingo Commission gathers home in the Reporter. CPDM clips wings of aspiring regional and municipal councillors in municipal updates. The Horizon brings to the fore Northwest Election Bureau that sizes up preparation before voters go to the polls on March 12 in the median. The same median wants to know who the political boss is in Manu Division as unending political tussle continues. The Eden presents Honorable Etombi Ikome Gladys as quiet and visionary MP at a time the mobilization for senatorial elections heightened in political parties in Cameroon Tribune. Secondary Education Minister then reminds school officials in Cameroon Tribune that corporal punishment is prohibited in schools across the country. Cameroon Insider sees this measure as sparing the rod and teaching the child. More so, as Nalova Lyonga dangles sanctions over perpetrators of corporal punishments in schools in the Guardian Post. The reporter indicates that Secondary Education Minister is poised to sanction schools reinforcing corporal punishment. At a time, the reconstruction of the Northwest-Southwest regions receives synergy of action for better execution of projects in Cameroon Tribune. Stakeholders examine new priorities in Cameroon Insider. Municipal Update says 2023 targets have been set with commitment to deliver. The same work is carried out by Southwest Regional Assembly in the Horizon, especially as the construction of the Northwest and Southwest is among government's top priorities in the next 10 years, according to the Post newspaper. Cameroon Customs is then reported in the Guardian Post to have generated over 897 billion CFA francs in 2022 and have set over 20 billion target from cocoa export taxes alone in 2013, just when fuel price hike imminent as government hints on cutting subsidy by 50% in the Guardian Post. The stripping of Francis Ngannou of the UFC heavyweight title, the war waged by medical doctors over National Medical Council election, the vow from bishops to multiply efforts for return to peace in troubled regions, and the 2022 achievements of the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, CERAC, also form stories reported by the papers this week. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
More women in politics. A simple talk show, that's what we're discussing today on Press R. Women have been talking so much. We look at statistics and some of the women are saying that the results are not proportionate to their talk. These women we have on the set and so many others they represent are saying there is something that has been done, even if much has to be done to make sure that they are represented in decision-making positions. More women in politics. A simple talk show, that is our focus. And we are going to start right away with this question. What is the situation of women representation in politics? 1, globally, 2, in Africa, and 3, in Cameroon. That concerns us. we know that you always have some startling statistics. Patience.
Well, let me start by saying that we're all talking today based on what Beijing stated the platform. Stated 30%, we take that into consideration, and then we take into consideration what the African Union agenda for 2063 states, 50%. So we have that option. If it's typically African, we should be targeting 50%. Now, within that framework, let's just say at the African level, like my fellow colleague will be specifying pretty soon, it stated that globally women occupy 25.7% of available parliamentary seats. One. Then it says 7.2% as per head of states positions. Then 6.2% head of government positions. Now 21.3% of cabinet positions, give or take some, because some are dropping, some are going up. Now at the African level, 24% parliamentary seats occupied by women, significantly close, as some claim, to the global average of 30%, but far from the 50%.
Yeah, which means that in some countries they have stepped up, in others they are far down there.
What will get the only two sub-regions. You have the southern and the East African region. Largely, those two largely account for that percentage. Now, they say Central Africa is about slightly above 10%. So that's where we are. We could go on and on, but there's some regions which have that. If you want, with Pacific and others. But if you look at the world right now, Latin America, the southern part of America, is taking over when it comes to the leadership for women. Some are going up, some are coming down, but at least they're predominantly in the lead for now. But in Africa, in terms of parliamentary seats, Rwanda is topping, and even globally, 60%, one of the rare African countries which is in the lead when it comes to leadership in parliament.
Yes, Yvonne, what have these countries of the Southern Africa and some of them Southeast Africa, what have they done to step up the number of women representation in politics that Central Africa with about 10% and others that may even be below that have not done?
That depends on the electoral code of each country. There are countries where it takes also political decision, like Senegal. I think the president Macky Sall took upon himself to bridge the gender gap. Elsewhere, you have female constituencies, because I'm happy you wanted that they give us a global image of women's representation. It's not a Cameroonian issue. It's a global issue with specific decisions taken at different levels as response to that. The figures were given leaving out Cameroon. We are champion in the sub-region.
Our situation is better.
We are champion in the sub-region because when you look at our parliament, we have 31.10% in the National Assembly and 26% in the Senate.
Close to that.
Close to the 30.
The Beijing mark is there in parliament.
It's there, but not at all levels. The best level of governance is at the grassroots. Local councils. There we are less than 8%. Which makes this a very topical issue to be discussed. And when we talk about bridging this gap, is using this as a political dividend for a majority of the population. Women account for almost 52% of the population of Cameroon. Why is it that at representation level, they are down there?
We should ask you, the women, that question.
It's not a women's issue. I've spoken about political will. We are in an elective year. Though with a specific college, the senatorial elections, the head of state has the latitude to appoint 30 senators. This is when he should meet up with his 2011 promise of bridging this gap of representation. He has the latitude to appoint. After elections with a specific electoral college, To balance it up, why not appoint more women?
Yvonne, let me
Get
ask
to
you,
the Beijing level or the
before you
African
continue,
Union level.
the impression you are giving is that women should go to sleep. They should not go and fight to be.
I think when you introduced
to win
me,
election and wait.
you spoke
when they
about
are
the network.
beaten, the president should come and appoint them.
There is political will. There is the playing ground that should be made level, competitive and competence based. Not where, Kilian, if you think you want to hear this from me, in Cameroon, we have cases where the husband is in parliament, the wife is in Senate. Is it family representation? That is what we've been doing since 2006. When we started with the Network for More Women in Politics, we had 7 women in parliament. We went up to 13, we went up to 12, and we are at the onerous position in the sub-region that I just mentioned.
Okay.
It's not like women have been sleeping. Let this level playing ground be leveled. Some people hold power. Some people are power bearers. Some give, which are the electorate. But if we make playing ground level, I think we'll have more women representing their folks in Cameroon.
Yes, Barrister Joy, when you listen to Patience and Yvonne, they are asking for level playground. I would think that the law is better placed to level the ground, state the quotas, let it be inscribed in all our laws, and make sure that when we are going in for something like an election, we already have quota system, and women will not come crying. What are you, the legal minds, doing? Is it a problem of not putting it in the legal documents?
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem of not putting in the legal documents, even though that should be very important. If we're talking about anything that is legal, it should be written so that everyone can make reference to it from time to time. I also think that the women have to sit up to some of these positions, like I said before. It's unfortunate, but there are instances where you might want a woman to sit in a position and she's not either skilled or she doesn't have the knowledge or something to sit up to that position. So if we have these women and we come to a position where you see that, okay, we have these competent people, but the quotas are not there. So why don't we use the law at this point? We refer to the law. At that time, we can go back and we say, okay, this is what the law says, if it's written, and then we can even use the courts to seize for the competent authorities to grant whatever is their wish.
And my question is, are the laws leveling the ground? Because you can only have it written, as you have said, go to court with something that is written. Is it written? If it's not written, what's happening? What should be done?
The ground is not level. She talked about the percentage of women who are more than slightly above 52. And if we want to say it's level, then why don't we take maybe a 50-50 in women in politics? It's not the same.
But the law should make that happen first before we go into implementation.
That's true.
So why don't you, the legal minds, push for that and register?
Legal minds can push for that if, let's say, we have people who also want it. There should be the interest. Who wants these things to happen? The women are there, fine. If they want it, then you can go, for instance, in your area, your local jurisdiction. There are lawyers, there are the magistrates, there are the courts, and then that's where you start from.
Yes, I expected some of you legal minds and activists and advocates of women activities to come up, create networks, draft a law, and wait for Parliament. When they are in session, you take it up there and say, this is what you want. So that's why this topic is more women in politics. Are you simply talking and not walking your talk? That is exactly why we brought up this topic. Patience, I know you are eager to complete what she said, but we have to go to the one man who is on this set. Yes, you've heard women are saying that the men, I don't want to say you as if I'm not a man, that the men have to make way so that they steer the ship of power, of leadership.
Thank you very much. I've listened to the women on the panel, and I have the impression they themselves, they know that they are afraid. They are afraid to take positions when it comes to the political atmosphere of a country, and they are shy. Statistics have demonstrated that women have insignificant value-added participation. It means that participation in politics to change the life of a nation. It is insignificant. Gender parity, according to United Nations statistics, facts and figure about women's leadership and participation in politics, has moved in 1995 from 0.52% to 2022 to 11%, which is very weak. Meanwhile, the female population is growing at a geometric rate. When I take, for example, the world statistics before coming to Cameroon, you discover that 30 women are holding executive positions in about 28 countries. 30 countries have head of states as women. 15 countries has heads of government as women. When you come to Cameroon, 51% make up of the female population in Cameroon, but only 13.5% are made up of women who are ministers, directors, secretary general. President Paul Biya has done a lot to give a way for women to participate in politics. The quota in percentages is defined at the level of the Senate, at the level of the National Assembly, at the level of local governance. What are the quotas? The quotas in Cameroon, we have about 21%. I said 21% of women participation at the level of the National Assembly.
Internationally or locally? What quota is that?
And then when you take the Senate, I don't have specified percentages at the level of the Senate, at the level of National Assembly and local governor. I'm taking 21% of their participation.
Not of defined quota system.
Yes, I think Madam here has the data, and it is her field. It's her field to present that. Me, I'm trying to figure out a graph where the participation of women in politics is convex to the origin, which means that as the population is growing and years are passing by, their interest, their value added, which means that we really feel the impact of a woman in a government position as maybe a prime minister or a president. That is where my problem
lies. Very good. He has made very strong, I want to call them accusations. And there are people who share those accusations that he has raised. That if they were to call people out there, a meeting, political meeting, you have fewer women attending the political meeting. I'm talking about a meeting, not a rally as such. A meeting of members of a political party.
So, Patience, can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
And they call those meetings. I'm happy it's a young man. While his parents were there, the men of his father's generation, maybe his father amongst them, were struggling to get political positions. His mother was busy, struggling to make him the man he is today. What he calls the weaker, whatever. Women are strong. Go back to your family and see how much they do to sustain you. The politics in Cameroon is nasty. And there's this.
Is it a Cameroonian affair? Politics everywhere.
Politics
we live similar situations in Europe.
There's poverty we call feminized. Feminized. Socialization made it in such a way that a woman, the caution for the upcoming elections is 1 million. If she has prepared that money, and an unfortunate situation occurs in the family that needs that to save life, she would be the first to spare her that position and allow the men.
Yvonne,
you used another stereotype.
Before you go to that stereotype,
yes,
you are, according to me, not handling the accusation directly. You talk about what happened before.
And what is still happening?
He is talking about today, when you go out there and see when meetings are summoned, you have men who come up to the fore more Not because some women, as he also said, and I think Pastor Joyce, they shy away. They actually shy away. That one is a fact.
Let me tell you something. Huge decisions in political parties are taken as from midnight.
That's true.
Again, would have multitasks, multi-responsibilities.
No,
she does not find herself there.
No.
Some of us find ourselves there.
So they set you traps and you just fall into their traps and you come and blame them.
It's not a trap.
What is it?
If you were to be in a meeting with your wife with little children at home, I'm sure the first person who feel the pain of nobody around the children will be that woman, and she will go home. Not because she doesn't have the interest, but circumstances push her to go. When did they ever ask how competent a man is before she holds positions? Why is it that when it comes to women, we come up with petty,
like
talk?
Which?
Is she competent enough? What level of competence do we need to sit in parliament? What level of competence do we need to sit in councils?
I know you are competent. So many people who know you are competent. Are you going in for one of these elections? The answer is
for one of these. I'm going in for elections where it's universal suffrage. The senatorial elections that are upcoming. You know it has a specific.
Why not go in for that?
College.
Yes, we know. Okay, yes, please, Patience.
If you so permit.
You do.
Let us start by coming back to the topic.
Yes.
We're talking about partisan politics right now. The Prime Minister thing deals with...
Somebody appoints.
You understand? That's not partisan politics in this case.
It's part of the dynamics of politics.
No, just hold on a second. Let's not mislead those watching. We're yet to inform. Part of the problem in this country is I've worked in the domain, in and out. I've trained, and you know that, in and out of this country on this. I've worked with women, been to the forest and places. What I want to start by saying is this. For example, in 2011, there were 3 females who stepped forward to run.
Yes.
2 candidates were retained. One, Madame Ndah of Brick, and the other one, Edith Wala Dakabang, whom they call Kawala. They were retained, right, of CPP. 2. Prior to this period, prior to the elections Cameroon management period, when it was the observatory, we had people like Nicole Teki who had intentions, but they were never invested. Let's be frank, that's at the supra level for the presidential. When it comes now, recently, the last elections, what did you notice?
Tell us.
We had a presidential leader of the UPC, a woman, who stepped forward. What happened? Now, what was strange was the case in point was Ali Sadio of what party? AFP. She was president of that party. Do you know the men and even the partisans didn't even invest Ali Sadio? They chose a man. No, hold on. No, I'm coming. Let me land.
See, we cannot listen to you that way. This is what you don't want us to understand.
No, wait.
The point is this. The point is this, Patience.
Can I land?
Politics, you have to take. Politics is dynamics.
Can I land? There is a methodology. You don't wake up and happen. The party, there are rules.
Because of the,
it's
because
not just,
came out
see, let me talk. When you even say it's not level playing ground, legally it's level playing ground. You're a legal mind. I beg to vary. If you go to the supra, when you look at the preamble of the constitution of this country, what does it say? You can't come to specific text because you're looking for woman. When they talk about human beings, it's all englobing. That's the mistake we make when it comes to human rights. Human rights is first of all englobing. Why do we come and talk about women's rights? It's because we notice there are some quacks There are discrepancies. You understand? So we have to handle this one, and we come up with positively discriminative measures. And it's not peculiar to Cameroon. She spoke about Senegal. Go to Uganda. I've been an AU observer of elections in that country, and I love the way they operate. Way beyond the general elections, as they call them. When it comes to the municipal and legislative elections, they have specific corridors where only women, that's everybody must, yes, the constituencies, they must vote only women there to make sure they bridge it up. I worked on the world's map, the first map the UN women worked on. I was a guest to Uganda. I know what I'm talking about, with different cases. And when you start talking and you say we are weak, for heaven's sake.
Your mother is weak.
For heaven's sake. There's a question Kawala once asked. Whose daughters are we?
We.
Hold on. The people who led the UPC we're talking about today, go and read up.
And what happened?
The Queen Pocus, excuse me.
What happened
the Queen Pocus, see, right now when it comes to this Senate thing, who invests? Do you have a say? These are some statistics here.
Who invests? Do you have a say?
Let me just a second to
why do you allow people to invest? And that's what I'm saying.
It's a legal thing.
You are talking. Generalize that question.
Yvonne,
why do
this is the question I'm asking
about the Senate,
maybe you are
about the Senate. Get just simple example for you to understand. We spoke about
give
this.
the example.
In 2013. I'm looking at some of the lists. I'm sorry if I wouldn't, maybe I shouldn't call a political parties.
No, do not.
You will notice that in one case, the Adamawa region, when it came to substantive, that is the main candidates. Maybe we talk ground level, all
were men.
When since you're considering elections, you have 7 candidates per
list.
Yes. You understand, for the list?
Yes.
Because there's 30% they're going to appoint. So every region, when you add them, there's 70% they come out. What happened for 2013, for example, on 7 candidates, they began for on the main list, the main candidates, they gave 2 for female. And then on the alternate list, they had 4 alternates on 7. Now, in some places, you would go to the northwest at that time. You had 7 on 7 women in the alternate list and 2 on 7 for the substantive. That was that. In the literal, you had 4 on 7, and they were above the.
Thank you. I think the message has gone across.
5 on 7.
Yes, the message has
invested?
gone. No,
political parties. What was the mentality?
Good. Your message has gone across. It's so clear. Now you've pushed me forward. We are going to come to that. We are about 6 days to go to the deadline for submission of lists of the senatorial election. That should be on the 28th of January, the deadline. What are you, following these examples of the past, doing as women to make sure that you don't have one substantive, one woman in the substantive list and then 7 women on the alternate list? So what are you doing? What are the quotas you want to do on the substantive?
When we propose gender to be mainstreamed on the electoral code and women's representation, why not state a clear quota? It was so that in cases of lists like this, come up with a zebra list. Woman, man, woman, man.
Okay.
If it's shared, both sexes are represented. We are still preaching that, but like you reminded the legal mind, for it to be enacted, it should be law for it to be considered. It is not yet, and we keep clamoring. It's not the first time we are saying the electoral code just stated in its article 52 gender should be taken into consideration with all sociological components. Gender is not female and male. Sociological, they are all the social components of a society.
Yes, you make a point
towards that, dear Kilian.
This is the moment for you to make it happen.
When elections have been called already?
No, it is possible because the lists are being constituted. This is what I want to point out. Yes, patience. You know, this side of the table has been a bit, we have ignored them. This is what I want to point out. In 2013, what we are clapping for now, we have up to 26. We have 30 in the National Assembly, 26 in the Senate. It's because the chairperson of one political party, we should give him credit because
women canvas, leave that chairperson, leave political parties out of this.
See, this is what happened.
Can we land?
We will land. we will learn.
Leave
and learn
that
well. You cannot deny to give him this because he did it. And I thought that you should beg the chairperson of that political party to come up again and maybe give that woman.
It was, I mean, that thing was already
inscribed. Can we say something?
Let us go to the analyst. Let's look at what we have done. You have listened to them, say what they have said, and they are talking about the game should change. The dynamics should change.
And we are in a process.
Yes. So what do you say? Given that
I totally disagree. They are blind because.
No, you cannot say that.
No, I said what they are asking for, they already have it, but they are not seeing. I don't think when you have about 400 political parties and just about 3 are women, and a woman creates a movement and puts politics in it, when she is appointed, she abandons or she weakens the activities of the movement. And when a woman creates a political party and discovers that she has not won the last election,
she abandons it.
She abandons. If she does not abandon, the money that is being paid for participating in the election is used for other purposes.
Is full of
then it makes us men to think that women want to be at our own level like men. Because when you listen to Yvonne says a man and a woman, a man and a woman. All political parties have constitutions. They have a certain percentage for genders, youths, women.
No, women
and the rest.
Bundle, then the men are king.
The game, where the game starts, Kilian, the game starts at the local level, which means at the level of the municipality. When they're doing municipal councillors, the woman has to go in for a councillor. From that is where they have to play the game. It's not at the national. At the
men should not.
You people are afraid to compete.
Now, this is something.
There's no competition at the local level. That is where the problem is.
Before I come to Barrister Joy, this is something which worked out well for them. They are clapping. I've raised it. They don't want to. Since you are a political analyst, I want you to talk about this. In 2013, the chairperson of the CPDM said, and that's where we have the majority. In any list that does not have a woman as substantive, and that's what
just a woman.
Well, at least that was already good, and that's what brought you to where you are. Now, I want you to give us the political analysis and state exactly what happened. That if this were to happen, that the same person comes up and revises their decision, other political party leaders do the same, the story will be different, and women will win better, rather than talking and we do not see what they are holding on. Let him answer the question.
Yes, I think that in 2013, the laws that were put in place to organize elections were set based on profile of the candidate.
They are the same laws. I'm talking about one leader of a political party who said, for my political party, if there's any list that goes up without a woman's name on the substantive list, it will be disqualified. That's why we have many women now in parliament. That's what I'm talking about.
No, those are minor issues. She's raising up a personal problem, a micro problem. Meanwhile, we are talking about general macro, which is the election of the country. If she's bringing up her personal instincts to articulate and then prohibit the holding of election, or maybe that if her list is not there, I think there's no debate here, Kilian. I don't see any debate there.
Okay,
it's a personal. It's personal. It's not something which is general. What do you mean they say that?
I thought they were praising.
It's just for example that one can say that no.
They were praising the president of your party.
No,
for making the level.
It's the same like I can say that no. If a prime minister is not from my community, I will not go for election. It's personal. It's micro. But we are talking about general issues like principles, pedagogic.
Now,
it's not complaint.
Joy.
To me, there's no debate there.
Where should women go to become really representative in decision making?
Are we supposed to be somewhere and somewhere left out?
You have to take yourself somewhere. There's something you have to do. What should you do? That's what I'm saying. As women. As women,
just like men, anywhere we want to be represented in politics, we should fit ourselves in. Why is it that for the women they are asking where? Is it the same question that goes for men?
Why are you then not fitting yourself? That's the question I'm asking.
We are there. We are everywhere. But now, like she said, we had the quotas that are limiting. We need to have that level ground where all of us can be able to stand in for elections wherever without being limited.
You need that level.
Do you know a quota is not inscribed in the electoral code in Cameroon?
No,
Kilian?
there isn't.
There isn't a quota.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
Okay.
And if you're talking about the chairman saying that he said for his politics, he still has the power to make that possible for every other woman in every other party. He should make, this is what we want it here.
And nobody will do that for you. You have to do that yourself.
Okay, it's now a woman's issue because they're underrepresented. The electoral code now suits everybody, especially men, except women.
I thought you were going to take up your own fight.
Can I say something?
Yes.
You guys, there've been a lot of digressions, which I am afraid are not verifiable. I worked in this from the National Elections Observatory. For this code to come into existence, you understand, there were consultations with all political leaders, civil society, you understand, all stakeholders of the process. I was a reporter then for the House. I still have videos. If I open my mouth and talk, you can't reduce. No, excuse me, please.
Talk about
excuse me. You can't reduce.
All those
excuse me. Can I land? You can't reduce this document to what you're trying to make it of. And secondly, excuse me. Having witnessed what happened in 2013 as focal point gender for the UN at the time and working in the House, I can reliably tell you that it was not a party head that influenced the decision. Reason why, excuse me, a influence. There was a come together. I am talking as a witness. I shouldn't have come up with this at this point.
No, I would have
excuse me. Let me learn. Excuse me. This is an independent management body. Go back to the missions. In terms of functionalism and structural functionalism, you guys are digressing, and you seem to be stepping on that structures.
We are not.
No, excuse me. Educate your public.
This is a conversation.
Yes, let me just right.
Something.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him. Lists were sent out, and the international community gave an award to Elections Cameroon. You understand? And then it happened. And later on, I remember that there have been campaign messages even after that, which I worked upon as head of communication at the time, which stipulated that even for minority groups, and it wasn't from you, it was from Elekam. So be careful. Political parties, there are two types of quotas. No, I'm going to be disobedient now. There are two types of quotas. The constitutional and the institutional type. Go and check about those two quotas. The parties have theirs and the constitution has. I never run from things.
No, you listen to me then. Talking about this electoral code that you say all political parties, all civil society and the rest
at the time
were consulted.
Yes,
I agree. But 3/4 of all those people today are saying that it needs to be revised because it was not well done. So you cannot quote it as an example.
No, it needs to be revised because it's a progressive thing. At the time, all of them
that's not the impression you're giving.
No, I didn't say that. I went back in time. You understand? In political communication, it's a progressive thing. In political communication, it's a wholesome thing.
But why you said it is because you are giving the impression. This document is so good.
See, at the time, all of them came together. There were consultations with all the political heads, with civil society heads, even the most die-hard people who are fighting against this today. That's not what I came here for. If I bring out videos and show you what they said, you'll be surprised.
No videos.
You understand what you are trying to say?
We don't need the videos now.
Now they're asking, it must go forward.
Look at our topic.
Kilian.
Look at our topic.
Yes.
Look at our topic.
It's like you want
look at our topic. Let's look at our topic. Our topic is more women in politics. Simple talk show. The way you are vibrating here. If you were to go to areas that matter and vibrate the same, we will not be talking about women not being represented, having underrepresentation. That is exactly
I am happy you know it's not two persons that are going to change the narrative.
No, you like your candle. You don't complain about the darkness.
Collective.
It's like women who are at fault.
Yes. Okay, now
nobody
you have the floor.
Yes, nobody has quenched the candles.
Please.
Some women
let Ndifon go.
Yes, Kilian, I think if we started in 2006 and have not given up, is because we are results oriented and we think we are getting somewhere. It's not a complete dark image. Cameroonian women are stepping up more and more. When we talk about their participation in politics, politics yields dividends in appointments. Women go to the same schools, acquire the same certificates like men. When we talk of 11 or 10 women out of 65, is it that the women are incompetent? No. Ministries that have been handled by women in this country, there are some that were already going down the drain and were given to women. We all know the results.
Well, we give you that credit.
Women
we give
are
you that
better managers. Reason why you don't cut me, because reason why when we talk of embezzlers and bad managers in the prisons of Kondegi and New Bell, 99% are men.
I will not comment on
That's
that.
part of
I'm not going to comment
leadership.
On, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going back to the political analyst. What we want now, the 11 minutes we have to our credit is we have senatorial elections in the horizon. We have other elections that are coming. What do you expect to see on those lists that we get these women act more, get more represented than talk the way they're talking? Beginning with you.
Yes, the opportunity has already been given to them. I advise them to go down to the local governance, the local areas, and do competition with men, so that they can step up the percentage at the level of the senatorial election. I wish to see a woman president of the Senate. I wish to see a woman president of the National Assembly. But the game start at the local level. Let them go back to their villages, compete, go in for the indirect suffrage, so that we see women. The problem is we are not discriminating women. The opportunities are there. Let them do the balancing. That is my problem. Let them do the balancing.
Barrister, what should women do?
What will you do for her to be there? Ask him direct questions. If you had a daughter, what will you do for her to be there?
No, not a man. A man should not do it for the daughter. I'm asking you. I consider that you are his daughter, and you should be the one to tell us what you are going to do as a daughter. No, he should not do it for the daughter. Yes, I'm with you now.
Why does he talk like the women are not already there doing the work they should do?
They are afraid to compete.
What do you mean by women are afraid to compete?
Tell us exactly what you are planning to do to come up and behave and act better, get better representation. That's the essence of our question today.
You see, women are already everywhere. They are advocating for more women in politics. Women are down in the field. They are working already. So I don't think that if we say what do you want women to do, it's like women are not doing anything already.
No, we create the way.
It's like
after the senatorial election, will I see women? The number of women come up. If they don't come up, means they're not working.
Yeah,
no, the women are working. Why not? The women are already working. The women are.
We need the results.
No,
are we going to have the results?
So why
when you're
asking
to Kilian?
Yes,
Joy.
Yes, go ahead.
You look at these male chauvinists who are sat with his counterparts. They've discussed and are already feeling the threat of women's emergence.
No.
And he uses this rostrum to threaten the woman that if you don't find yourselves there, it's because you didn't work. I give you a big no, capital.
What if it's not a
electoral college
is a challenge?
Fixed. Yes, it's
what is instead a challenge for you to work better?
It's a challenge for more women to come up in the parties. How many parties have you seen the investiture committees led by women?
Because women have allowed it to be done.
Really? That's you again.
Yes.
Everything women allow. The men who strive is because women have given it to them.
We have the same positions.
They are gradually coming.
We are having the same positions.
To take it.
Now compete.
Please.
Politics is a game.
The message
it's a competitive and non-competitive game.
The message we want to give Cameroonians from here is that politics or governance is like two wings of an aeroplane. If one of the wings is broken, the takeoff will not be effective. If our development is sustainable, it will be for all of us and not only for women. We should see he for she ambassadors, men who think also that that gap should be bridged so that we all work towards our sustainable development.
I think
it's not
one of those who
male-female fight.
Yes, no, it's not a fight for.
We want a better nation.
Yes, patience, please. We are not going back to statistics. No. We are moving forward. What do you have an agenda to change the game?
Number one.
Yes.
We're going to talk in context.
Yes.
The senatorial elections are indirect elections.
Yes.
These are list systems. You and I do not impact directly except from a partisan view. It's within the parties. While waiting for the parties to remember to give us vice presidents and presidential seats and secretary general roles, if you do a quantitative analysis, you discover there is a problem, even in terms of the commissions in the field that in charge of investing female candidates and male candidates. We are just saying this. Make sure that, and the law can hold them to ransom when it comes to that, because like I said, there are two types of quota systems, the constitutional and the institutional part. That's why you spoke about a party. Around the world, parties take that decision. And so if the parties wake up from their sleep and realize that it is a fundamental right for women, if you have 7 seats to take, for their list to have at least 3 women on the substantive side, it is a right. And also the same thing on the other side, not just women on the alternate list, things start working out.
Talk to the commission.
So now, apart from that, secondly, I'm talking to them. Secondly, when you look at the regional councillors, how many women do you have leading any regional council in this country? None. They're going to be voting. When the time comes, the municipal councillors and the regional councillors who have to vote, let them remember that men and women, we are breathing the same air now. We are intelligent, even more intelligent than you, and capable and impactful. Even we've proven it. So whatever thing any man is saying, that's his problem. You understand? So number 2, that is the first thing. Number 3, women, when you are down there, like we say, it is a right. Number 4, I have a problem before I go. The Senate, we have how many commissions in charge of different bureaus there? How many? How many women do you have leading any commission at the Senate? But that is the upper house in charge of very sensitive issues. Practice what you preach in your texts. Let the text come alive. That's all what we're saying. Thank you.
Very good. You've spoken to those commissions. You have also spoken to political party leaders. I hope they're going to take into consideration all of that, because we still have about 6 days to reconstitute all those lists and make sure women are part and parcel, and we put them in the substantive list, especially substantive list. Yes, Yvonne, we are going now for the last
before
word.
We ask for female for constituencies. Women, we are above 52% of the population of Cameroon. We can plow our energies together and support female candidates. Whose daughters are we? If we go together, we have the strength to tie even a lion and elephant down. We don't dismiss the fact that we are not yet there. Let's all get focused and want more women to represent, because we should be around on the table and not on the menu.
Yes, yes. Dr. Cho Walters.
Yes.
Lady is going to have the last word. So they shouldn't say I'm chauvinist again.
Yes, can I?
You go ahead.
Should not give the impression that President Paul Biya has not given opportunities at different levels.
Tell Cameroon, don't tell patience.
Yes, President Paul Biya has defined with percentages at each level of election the percentage of women's participation. What I want from women now is that they should bring up a memorandum. They should write a memorandum to the President of the Republic, raising up arguments why is it not practiced. That is why there is a good debate. President Paul Biya has given impression that Cameroon is not respecting the quotas so at the assembly, in the government,
what document
at the Senate.
What document is that?
I mean, in political parties.
Political
parties have defined. He as the president of CDM. Talk about defined. Not about CDM. All parties, all political parties, all positions.
Are you a political expert like that?
No, I'm doing analysis.
You're kidding.
You are giving an impression that it's not respected.
Who says that?
Hold on a second. We give you time to talk. you should also respect us for giving you that time to talk. In the book that we call the code, you don't have quotas.
No.
So political parties cannot breach, they cannot disrespect.
Documents.
They cannot disrespect this code. They can make some back behind the doors arrangements, but it cannot be a kind of law. But I agree with you. I agree with you that women should write. Maybe
Cameroonians should write.
For example, I don't know why now we don't have time. If Cameroonians don't write and women are feeling relegated, you complain and you go back to.
Thank you very much.
Your last word.
Yes, we're saying that this thing is not a woman's fight. Everybody should be involved in putting the women where they ought to be. Why should it be just women writing as if it doesn't concern the men? This thing is, if we want it to be fair, like we want it, then everybody should be involved. It's not just a woman's thing. One
person must lead something at a particular time.
Okay,
that is what we are talking about. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yvonne Mumabi, activist and founding member of More Women in Politics in Cameroon. Thank you very much, Patience Ilango, African Programs and Community Relations Specialist, ID for Africa. We also want to be very grateful to you, Barrister Joy Chefu, women's rights advocate. We want to thank you immensely, the one man who was here, who defended his position so well, Dr. Chuo Walters, who is a political analyst. On behalf of the production team, I want to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us your time. If you missed out on this program, please, you can watch a full broadcast on Monday at 2:30. Or you simply, wherever you are, with your handset, connect to CRTV. That's www.crtv web. You go to our Facebook page and you're going to watch this program at your convenience. Thanks once again. Have a nice day.